So let's talk about change and the way that it can affect people. So a few weeks ago, I kind of had a realization that the content I was making wasn't satisfying me in any way. And obviously, when you make content, you want to do stuff that you find fun and interesting, stuff that you would want to watch. And to me, just doing standard Let's Plays and also and all sorts of like little bits and pieces is fun and interesting to a lot of people, but to me it wasn't quite enough for me to really think that it was worth wasting a lot of money and time on. And I've sort of gotten better than what I originally believed, which is that I just thought I was burnt out on the whole process in the first place. I'm a lot better now, for sure. But I still find it difficult to do one video in particular, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. When I first started doing the planning for the Majora's Mask series, I went in fully understanding that there was a lot to do in Majora's Mask. And I was super fond of actually learning how to do a Majora's Mask Let's Play, and sort of handling it in the stream. And I liked doing a lot of the planning, and in particular, I really enjoyed the process of planning out what I thought was a good strategy, and making like a spreadsheet out of it, and finding out like paths, and learning just how improvised the whole process can be. I found myself actually realizing during streams that I wasn't going to be able to do certain things. And one of my favorite learning experiences from all that was playing Loop 3 and 4, where there's just a certain point where you aren't going to be able to do everything, and you just have to hope that you can get it done by the next one. Like, hopefully waiting to do it in the right time. And luckily for me, that happened. I was able to do most of what I had planned in those two loops on those two on that stream. So I was really excited to get it done. It was actually very rewarding and fulfilling. And it was the first time I actually felt like I was doing some proper planning and strategy in a game like that. Because for a lot of Let's Plays, it's just improvised, and then I Google stuff later. When it came to the Doom Let's Play, it was actually a lot different. I had marked out a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do, and after certain chunks of the game were finished, I would go back and get the rest of the stuff done. So it was like a pseudo-blind Let's Play, where after the fact, I would do cleanup. And that was very fun. I thought it was an awesome way to handle it, because I liked the raw experience of finding stuff. And it was sort of like a good way to do a blind Let's Play of a new game really quickly after release and doing it 100%. And to this day, Doom 2016 is actually the only game I've 100% completed on an Xbox. Like, I have all the gamer score out of it. Which is awesome, because that's never happened before. The idea that I need to change that is not the point of this video. The idea of changing the viewpoint where I feel like I'm restricted and need a break from Let's Plays is also not the point. I feel very comfortable with the content I'm making. I'm very comfortable with Let's Plays and streaming and all these other sorts of things. I just want to handle things differently, which is where editing the Majora's Mask videos came from. I was experimenting with different ideas of editing, and I really stuck to one in particular, which is something that a lot of people have noticed, hopefully. Definitely a lot of my friends have noticed, because I talk about it to them all the time. It is the idea of sort of adding this, like, alternate reality experience to a video. Like, having sort of this subtle storytelling in the background that's just very weird and esoteric and doesn't make any sense to the game that's being played. I really like that. I think that's a lot of fun. because it's something that I don't think people really expected
Target lock confirmed.
me to do.
This is loader 2-0.
But a lot of my closest friends absolutely knew I was going to do that. Like, a lot of the friends that I make the content for really like the idea. So I decided to stick with it. And it actually came out really good. I am in love with the storytelling I have in the content. I love the weird glitchiness to it, and I've sort of settled on a more cyberpunk aesthetic than the cyberwave or synthwave aesthetic that my old name used to go by. And that's another thing about change. I'm not going to refer to myself as my old name anymore. When I came out as trans, I realized very quickly that my old username would have my dead name in it. So in an effort to mitigate that process, I decided to change my username entirely on almost everything. Obviously, when it comes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it's an Activision account, and I don't think you can change your username. So I'm kind of stuck with my old username for Call of Duty, which is a shame, because I really would like if I didn't have to go by that. But such is the way of usernames. You just are stuck with stuff. Luckily, there's some places that let you change your username for free, like Xbox, and Sony recently started doing that. Xbox had been doing it for quite a while, but yeah, I just don't go by my old name anymore. Nikki is the username that I stick with now, because it's comfortable, it feels nice, and it's easy to say. A lot of people, when I would make videos and stuff, would refer to me as like Replay TY or something, and I thought it was funny, but eventually it became novel. And now there's a weird thing that's happening with the new username that I find very funny. Especially when I play video games. People refer to me as Nick, which is not right in the slightest. I just find it really funny as well. Which, like, it takes a lot to offend me, and a lot of people know this for sure. I'm not easily offended by things like that. So when it comes to those sort of usernames, or like nicknames that people have given me, I'm not too bothered by it. So when it comes to that, I don't care. The other thing is how I show myself. When it comes to the username and stuff, that's a true given, that's a constant that I think a lot of people can understand and respect in a lot of ways. But when it boils down to it, I initially started doing face cam just to sort of get comfortable with the concept. And luckily, there is a trend going around now called VTubers that is actually kind of the perfect medium that I want to be a part of. VTubing is a thing where a content creator is someone who just represents themselves with like a 3D model or a 2D model in some instances with like a 2D live or whatever. And I've decided to do that with myself. When it comes to making content, I realized very quickly that a lot of people are worried about the face. And a lot of people really like having this sort of identity to recognize in their content. So when people make videos, there's a face that they recognize. This is true for a lot of things. And obviously, when it comes to the content that I was inspired by, that's a true constant as well. Content creators like CNanners and like Hutch, Sark, Call of Duty montage or Call of Duty commentary creators, they started picking up face cams pretty early. And quite a couple of them were in Machinima, so they were constantly doing live action stuff. This is true for a couple other things. Not only is it just true for a lot of things in particular, but it's very interesting to see how it's kind of a parallel. Now everybody's doing it, and it's kind of funny. that I had the idea for a very long time to do it in the first place. And I know that makes me sound like a hipster, like, you know, a lot of people are doing this, so I guess I'm doing it too, kind of thing, or like I knew this before it was cool. That's not the case. It was something that I had thought about for a very long time. And for the most part, I didn't get a chance to do it until recently. So, for the future, any content that I make will be with this face instead of my usual webcam. I just think I'm more comfortable in my own skin when I actually use this, This is a model that I built from scratch using Vroid Studio, and I'm using a program called 3Teen, which is free on Steam. And it's just a way for me to sort of better represent myself in a way that I feel is very comfortable. So, while it's kind of a different look and a strange change in particular, I think it's the right one. I think I'm much more comfortable with the way I feel talking to people, but I want there to be a way for me to sort of interact with the audience in a way that's meaningful. So, when it comes to the content that I make, this is going to be kind of a new constant. You're going to see this lovely face, and it's just going to be like old times. You know, I'm going to talk to you about games, and I'm going to experiment with more weird things too. I have a second channel that's under the same name, where I've been doing Skater XL montages. And it's mostly because those have copyrighted music in them that I've done that, and not for any other purpose. But I also just really wanted to play some Call of Duty and actually talk to people, because that's something I don't think a lot of people get the chance to experience. So, this is a little fun idea that I had for a while to just kind of be. And luckily, I have the opportunity to do so now. So, yeah, this is going to be a new thing from now on. I'm going to have this instead of my usual face, and people are going to see this avatar instead of me, because this avatar technically is me. And I'm just more comfortable that way, because I don't think a lot of people realize that my greatest concern when it came to being a content creator was sort of having this identity, and I don't think I look too great. But with this, I'm more comfortable. So, yeah, this is going to be a thing from now on. And obviously, the tracking isn't perfect because this is a free program. If I look too hard in one direction, it breaks. So, we'll make do. And, yeah, we'll just, we'll see what happens. So, I'd like to thank you all for watching. But until next time, I'm Nicky Riesel, and I hope to see you again soon.